Hey everyone, Monica Bodierski here. How are you doing? I am an artist and author of the Shadowland Tarot, Lenormand, and a few other oracle decks. You know, it took me a long time to come up with today's video, so I hope you stick around because I'm going to talk about the real F word. Welcome to Hey everyone, Monica here. How are you doing this fine day? So, as promised, we're going to talk about the real F word, and in this case, it is fear. So, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. If you've been here before and you're enjoying the videos and you've subscribed, I really appreciate it, as well as your comments. If you're new to the channel and you're starting to like what you see in some of these videos, please hit the like, the subscribe, and feel free to comment. Okay, so I mentioned the F word. It is fear. What is fear? Fear is defined as an unpleasant emotion or thought that you have when you're frightened or worried that something dangerous, painful, or bad is happening or is going to happen. We can be afraid of so many things. Some rightfully so. You can't argue them. And other things that we're exaggerating in our mind, and it is seeming more frightening than it actually is. And of course, we shove a lot of fears into the shadows. We don't want to face them because then we have to do something about it, and maybe we don't know how. So I mentioned that I had a hard time with this topic. And it wasn't really because I didn't know what to talk about so much as it being too vast. And well, I went down the proverbial rabbit hole and I was researching so much about the fears that people have about tarot. And I came across a list of New Age practices to avoid, an A to Z and or A to Z, depending on how you like to say it, list that was published by a very well-known former New Age Oracle deck creator who has renounced all of that and gone straight to Jesus. And there is nothing wrong with people having different beliefs, and I wish this person well. What I was a little startled by, speaking of fear, was just how much fear was involved in what was being written about. And I don't know, maybe people don't see it that way, but it seemed quite alarmist to me and quite irrational. And that is a personal opinion. But let me just get my phone here and share a couple of these points. These were published in 2019 when this very well-known person decided to give up all of her New Age practices. So, you know, it is a little dated, but it comes up when you're Googling tarot and fear. It's right up there. So I thought it might be useful. And why do I share these things or talk about them? Well, yes, I realize at times I'm a commentator. I'm not just teaching about tarot or sharing my artwork or spiritual beliefs, but I'm commenting. So they are strictly my opinion. Let's take a look at another opinion because I think it's really valuable to know what's being said out there. Forewarned is still forearmed, I believe. So, and a couple of these they really startled me. Not just because apparently the New Age belief system is run by demons, okay, but because in this list, some of the things to be frightened of or warned away from, to me, were quite shocking. You know, I mean, if racism or colonialism or misogyny was on this list, I would be right there with, this particular Jesus belief. But actually, we have things like the peace sign. Do you know why the peace sign should be avoided? Let me tell you. A peace sign is an upside down and broken cross. Okay? Symbolizing the rebellion against Christianity. Okay. Yet without Jesus and his sacrifice on the cross for us, we can never find true peace. Really? Okay. The underlying meaning of the circle with the downward pointing fork, the total death of man, certainly is contrary to what the peace movement wanted. Oh, okay. For more information about the satanic connections of the peace sign, please read this. Okay. All right. Well, you learn something new to be frightened of every day. Power animals are to be feared. Drumming, spirit circles, sweat lodges are to be feared. Reiki is to be feared. Yoga, feared. Psychic readings, feared. Sage, feared. Demons and unclean spirits. Okay. Only Jesus can cast those away. Don't turn to plants. That's the problem. Okay. It's not any indirect indigenous issue. Shamanism is a counterfeit anti-Christian worldview. Okay. Related to animism and demons. Okay. Sorcery, obviously. Spirit guides, statues, idolatry, sweat lodges, I mentioned that. Tarot cards, here we are. They're associated with divination and unlocking the secrets of the future by occult, supernatural means. It's prohibited in the Bible. I think they cast lots in the Bible, didn't they? To receive a tarot reading is to attempt to find out things about one's life or future that only God holds. Okay. Interesting. So, the other one I had to share with you because I know that there's a lot of things in here that, well, I've heard this before, but I actually hadn't heard that unicorns, you heard me, unicorns, neon colored specifically, unicorn images can be used by the devil to mesmerize us into his kingdom where glitter substitutes for the bright light of Jesus. Oh my goodness. So now you should be afraid of unicorns and have none of those images in your home. Okay. You know, I want to send out my own healing energy to people who are so frightened that they've disintegrated into a space where unicorns, glittery neon-colored unicorns, have been sent by the devil. So, what about our own fears and our own shadows? Why don't we take a look at those, okay? And, you know, we can't really do anything about people and their rather peculiar beliefs. Again, that's my opinion. If we disagree, we have to live and let people follow their own paths. I think the danger sometimes of that kind of fear is that fear, of course, breeds contempt and can lead to violent acts and wars, intolerance, and racism, as I've mentioned, and all sorts of horrific acts. For that, it's good to keep an eye out on what people are afraid and, you know, maybe just avoid some of those hot spots. Another thing I read was really interesting was there's a Christian organization, Bethel Church. I'm not sure. They're from Redding, California. They have a group in Australia, and they are evangelists who, by their own admission, are sneaking into, legitimately taking part in New Age festivals and queer festivals and sex festivals as oracle card readers, Christian oracle cards, with the purpose of evangelizing. And I'm not sure that's really clear. I managed to get that through some articles. So you might want to consider what booths you stop at and not assume that everybody in the psychic spots and tarot readers are all just neutral in that department. Let's just say, I trust you have good discretion. So I have shuffled the deck, and let's pull a couple of cards. I'm going to pull a fear card and then a solution card. Very simply put, let's take a look at that shadow, because as I was trying to say, we can only change ourselves. Be forewarned that some people are out there that are like this, so they may cause you some issues. Don't you live in fear of them. Just be aware. And let's improve ourselves and not be those frightened sheeple. Let's live balanced together, shadowless lives, because we know ourselves and we know our triggers, and we'll, face those. They may not go away, but at least looking at them and shining light on them, they're unlikely to get really exaggerated. And we all have things that we're frightened of. There's nothing wrong with that. It's when they get hidden and we're not even aware because our subconscious isn't even sharing that. Okay? So, the first card I pulled, let's take a look at the Lovers. It can be decision making. It can also be intimacy, and it can just be pursuing the things you love or being in a relationship. Okay, you'll know best which of those resonates. Let's say you're afraid of being in a relationship. Okay, you're afraid of commitment. All right. Okay, fair enough. Let's draw another card and see the next card what the solution is. Isn't this an easy spread? The solution is the Emperor. No, don't go ask the Emperor. You're the Emperor. It's about taking authority and making decisions, taking control of what makes you comfortable and uncomfortable. So if you really are afraid of commitments, be upfront. Tell people, okay? I'm kind of afraid of commitments. Don't be washing your hair every single weekend, okay? Don't go silent on people. Don't avoid them. Tell them straight up. I'm afraid of commitments because I'm afraid of being hurt, okay? Or whatever your reason may be. Once these things are shared and said out loud, you know what? They're not so horrible and real. All right, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video and you have an anxiety-free week, and enjoy yourself. Stay safe. I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.